on everything I've done engine-wise to this car. I'm going to try to make this less boring, maybe too late already, but no, I'm going to try to make this less boring and more informative. This is the third engine. The original engine, God knows what happened to it. I don't know. Somebody probably blew it up years ago. It's 46 years old. So the second engine that was in there was a crappily built 383 that didn't last. By the time I got it, it was already leaking tons of oil past the cylinder ring, so that one had to go. I put in another 2-bolt main. Now I'll tell you about the mistake I made is regards to oil pressure. Had an oil pressure issue that I didn't take care of. I thought, you know, it'd be all right, maybe a little bit. No, it turns out it wasn't, because the oil pan, I think I had the oil pan was too small. So I implore you, anybody who's doing something like this, don't put in the 5-quart oil pan. Put in the 7-quart oil pan, because at really high revs, I noticed a few times the oil pressure was going down. I thought, you know, maybe I'm just an anomaly or I'm seeing things. And then one day the motor before this, I heard, and that was what was left of a piston. Oh, and the rod. So that was a bad day. But that gave me the chance to get an all forged 4-bolt main, which is what this is, holding up better. I have a Wyand 7-quart oil pan this time, still with the stock oil pump, except I ground out and polished through the channels on the oil pump to increase the oil flow. I recommend that. It's really not crazy hard to do. You just got to be sure, of course, all the shavings are out, because you don't want any metal, you know, flying through the oil system of the engine. The other thing I've got is, as you can see, headers. Got lots of chrome because I like fancy. And I have I forget, maybe it's a 130 amp alternator, but I got the most powerful alternator I could get within reason. I have high flow water pump, stock power steering pump, really. I have electric fans and a mechanical fan. Now I know what some of you will say, oh, there's no like shield on here, whatever. Well, I really do hope that nobody's sticking their hands in here when the engine's running. That's generally a no-no. If anybody's around your engine's running and they're going to go stick their fingers or hands in there, please tell them no. I also have a 4-core aluminum radiator, and I think another big upgrade typically is the first gen Holley Sniper EFI system, as well as a 1/2-inch spacer. I had a 1-inch spacer before. I put the 1/2-inch spacer in, but I really do think the 1-inch spacer is better at controlling the whine you get with the Holley Sniper, especially at cruise. It's that like a high-pitched whistle. I get it just a tiny bit with the 1/2-inch spacer, but I wasn't getting it at all with the 1-inch spacer. Maybe I'll go back to that. Now, what's really important in installing the Sniper system, and they'll tell you this on the website, obviously, is for God's sake, follow all of the instructions to the letter and more. Have appropriate grounds. One of the mistakes I made to begin with is I just kept this whole thing, the engine, grounded like I did when it had a carburetor. That was a bad idea. And then some wonky electrical things started happening. So I installed better grounds with thick, like battery thick ground cables. So, and there's another ground coming off the back. There's a ground off of there. There might be a ground in some other place. Grounds are good. And of course, the Sniper, as well as the Hyperspark system, power and grounded to the battery with these gold-plated connections. I think there's less of a chance that there's going to be corrosion, especially as I'm here in the Northeast and this thing stays in a non-heated garage. It's a makeshift garage because it's about 120 years old and it started out as a shed or a horse barn or something. But it's the best thing I got. And I think it's probably close to the best thing a lot of y'all are going to have out there too. So it's important that you drive out and prevent moisture and mice. Those are probably the two biggest things that can get to your Holley Sniper EFI system. And what you also want to do is, and they'll say, I did try my best, keep wires separated away from each other. I have to do a better job with this spark plug wire system, but I'm doing the best I can for now, and I have put wraps on wires that are better than what they came with. You know, I'm doing more than what Holly provided me with, just to prevent from electrical surges and high heat. Gets pretty hot under here, so I have to make sure you have grounds, all the electrical work is done to the letter, and things are really positioned where they should be. And what I did with the Hyperspark box also is it's on rubber pads under here, the same way my MSD box that I used to have was over there. The reason why is because they're subject to things that can go wrong with vibration. So I have them this whole box is rubber mounted under here. And another thing I did, because my son wants me to go over everything, is I have a vent system here for the oil that feeds back into the block over there. I can go through that another time because that's a lot of detail. I came up with that to prevent the oil from blowing through the seals down bottom. Doesn't hurt anything. I don't know if it really helps anything, but it doesn't hurt anything. So why not? And of course, this is all mated to a pretty much factory stock 4-speed Super T10 transmission that I rebuilt, and just I think you're just well off to get a it's a good idea, I mean, to get a high quality rebuild kit for the Super T10, and you should be good. That's another thing. Take your time, follow the instructions, get yourself a hydraulic press, which my kids love because then they can also crush stuff when I'm not using it for the transmission, so that's great. I did wrap the headers. I think that cuts down on the heat also. I don't know. What else? And another thing I wanted to mention is I do have the Trick Flow kit on this. I bought the short block as a 383 Ford short block, and I put on the Trick Flow 500 horsepower kit that was tested on a 383 for them, so thought it would be a good idea. And it's, when things are working well, when the fuel injection system's working well, it's a beast. It really moves. That's another thing. You just got to be sure, use ARP bolts, which I did. I mean, don't skimp on the small stuff. So use ARP bolts, use the right gaskets, Velcro gaskets, make sure everything's clean, torque them to spec, follow all the instructions, and you should be good. I, knock on wood, haven't had any head gasket blowouts or leaks yet, so things are looking good there. And I have what I think is a really good intake too. It's an old intake, but it's a Holley Strip Dominator intake, single plane. You might have heard things that reports online that the Holley Sniper system functions better with a single plane. I think that's true. I did have a dual plane on here before, and I just didn't get the throttle response that I was looking for. It's a much better throttle response with this single plane manifold. And along with that is a Holley Hyperspark distributor, which I do recommend. And this is something I have to say is that I recommend the Holley Hyperspark over the dual sync. I've had problems with the dual sync, so have other people out there. My problem with the dual sync was rusting out from the inside, and I sealed that second dual sync up pretty well, I thought. But it didn't help because my second dual sync at $500 a piece with tax and everything failed. So moving to the Hyperspark now, and we'll see how long this lasts. By the way, the dual sync is fixable. I'm on my way to fixing the one I have, but you need a fancy soldering iron and a very steady hand. I'll go over that in another video. All right, well, I do think that's it for now, but there's more stuff that I've done to this car that I'll post in future videos. Thank you.